How's it going, guys? Your boy Ray here from Expert Dummies. Back with another finance video. In today's video, I'm just going to touch upon some general ways you can save money, throw some tips at you guys, really just to help you guys set yourself up for your future saving. So the first tip that I'm going to throw out there and that I want to talk about is the importance of making a budget. Now, I know that seems very general, seems very vague. You know, it's easy to say, well, Ray, like, what do you mean by a budget? Like, it's easy to, create a budget on paper, but can you give me more details? So I think it's important to come up with a budget because if you are serious about saving money, creating a budget it has to be step number one. It's so necessary because you can't save money if you don't know where your money is going and how much of that money is going towards whatever the purpose is. Now you can create a budget in an Excel sheet, and I know, again, some people might say, like, what am I, a 40-year-old dad? Like, no one's going to go through the trouble of creating an Excel sheet and having a budget and checking it and updating it. But there are plenty of apps out there that help you budget. There's Truebill, there's Pocket Guard, there's Simple, and there's so many other apps out there that are designed to help you keep track of a budget. And again, it's hard to save money if you don't know where your money is being spent. And in today's day and age where there's a subscription service for everything, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, you name it, there's a subscription service for it. And it's very easy to lose track of your money and lose track of where your money is going. I've heard stories of people who forget to cancel a gym membership and they're paying $10 a month, $20 a month for a year, 2 years, and you do the math, how much money you've just wasted. So please start by creating a budget. And again, if you don't want to create an Excel sheet or you don't trust yourself, then download an app. There's so many apps in the App Store that can help you create a budget and stick to a budget. Now, moving on to the second tip, I can't stress this enough, the importance of starting to save and get into good financial saving habits at a young age. Now, I know for people like myself who are, recent college grads between the age of, 21 to, say, 27, 28, even 29, you have so many different expenses, whether it's a new car, rent, you name it, there's so many expenses that can pop up, and it's easy to put saving for retirement on the back burner because you think, oh man, I've got so many years. I've got decades, like 30, 40 years before I retire. I've got plenty of time to save. But I can't stress enough about how terrible of an idea that is. Try to get into good saving habits when you're young and set aside money when you're young. Don't wait until you're 5 years from retirement to start saving for retirement. At that point, you're kind of shit out of luck, really. You'd be surprised at how much money you should have set aside for when you retire. It can vary based off, geographically speaking, some parts of the country, your money goes farther than others. But don't quote me, but I would say that most financial advisors would say you would need at least $750,000 to, again, depending on where you live, $1.5 million to have saved for retirement to help you get through the cost of living post-retirement. So definitely start saving at a young age. If you work for a company that offers a 401k plan, please contribute to their match. So what I mean by that is, say you work for company ABC, right? And company ABC offers you 3% 401k matching. So what that means is if you contribute 3% of your paycheck into the 401k, company ABC will match that 3% and you'll ultimately have 6% going towards your 401k. So if you don't know if your company offers a 401k or not, that's step one. Figure out, does my company offer a 401k plan? And if so, what do they match? Do they match 1%, 3%, 6%? Figure it out. And definitely make it a priority to match whatever that percent is into your 401k. And I know it's a short-term sacrifice. That money can be going towards something else. but I'm telling you, it's really just going to help you in the long run. The next tip I would say is starting a rainy day fund or an emergency fund. Now, I know I sound like an old man saying that, but again, that's something that's so important because, life happens. Stuff happens, emergencies happen. And when I say emergency, it can be health related. It can be something like, for example, if you use your car every day to get to and from work and your engine is shot or your transmission is shot and that costs you several $1,000s. That can be a huge, huge expense, especially one that you're not expecting. An emergency fund, a rainy day fund is 9 times out of 10 going to be for an unexpected expense. A medical bill, again, your transmission blows, roof leaking. You name it. Anything can happen any given day. And you may need $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, sometimes even more than that, to solve the problem or resolve the issue. And you definitely don't want to be caught off guard and not have the funds available to address whatever that problem is come that rainy day. So definitely try to set aside a rainy day fund. Don't go crazy. You don't have to put $1,000 a month or something like that into it, but you should definitely have, some kind of savings account where you can slowly but surely put money in. And hopefully nothing ever happens that requires you to tap into those funds. But it's better to have it than not have it. The next saving tip, I would say, or just financial tip in general, is to pay off your debt and pay off your debt quickly as possible. Being in debt, and it can be student loan debt, it can be debt from taking out a loan to purchase a new car, a mortgage, taking out a mortgage on a new house, whatever that debt is. I can't stress enough how important it is to pay down that debt and pay it down as quickly as possible, because the longer you let that debt stay outstanding, you're just accruing more and more interest, and the guys at the bank are just smiling ear to ear because they've got you. So some tips to help paying off your debt, especially student loan debt, mortgage debt, car payments, try to pay more than the minimum payment. So let's just say, for example, you have a student loan payment that's $300 a month, right? Instead of just making that minimum payment of the $300 and allowing that student loan life to just grow and go on for as long as possible, try to pay maybe $350 or $375, or even if it's an extra $20. And I know you might be asking, well, why? Like, what's the point of that? By paying that extra $50, say you're paying $350 instead of the minimum $300, on the back end, you're not allowing the interest to accrue as much. So what I mean by that is, instead of waiting 10 years for the student loan to be paid off in full, you can possibly pay it back in 7 to 8 years because you're not letting that interest accrue. And by you paying that extra $50 a month, it may not seem like a lot in the present, but again, you're going to shave off some interest, and you're going to save a few $1,000s, and you're going to save a few years, 2, maybe even 3 years on the life of that student loan. So again, similar to saving for retirement, the goal is short-term sacrifice to put yourself in a better position long-term. And if you have credit card debt, again, please don't let your credit card debt just continue to pile on and snowball upon itself. Just word to the wise, my personal 2 cents, whenever I put something on my credit card, usually it takes 2 to 3 business days for the payment to post. I try to pay it off soon as that payment posts and not let it stick around. Do not treat your debt like a college essay and procrastinate and keep putting it off. If you have debt, try to pay it off as quickly as possible. Don't let your debt and interest accrue. Again, make the short-term sacrifice to put yourself in a better position long-term. And lastly, I would say do not live above your means is the last tip I'm going to leave you guys with. Now, that's an old saying, and it basically means don't live outside of your budget. So if you have a budget, stick to your budget. Don't try to impress people. Don't try to, give people an image that's not you. If you have $100 set aside in your budget for a new pair of sneakers, spend the $100. Don't go spend $200, $300 on a pair of sneakers, because they look cool or you think, you look nicer in them. Stick to your budget. If you have a budget for, say, a new apartment, $1,500 a month, stick to that $1,500 a month. Don't go out and sign a lease for an apartment that's paying $2,000 a month and you're struggling living paycheck to paycheck just to say you have a nicer apartment, or that, hey friends, look at my new apartment, my nice apartment. Stick to your budget and be disciplined. And again, short-term sacrifices for long-term success. That's all I'm going to leave you guys with today. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. I'll try to answer as best as I can. If you have any other topics that you'd like me to touch upon, I'd be more than happy to do some research and get a video out for you guys. But other than that, that's all I've got, and look forward to the comments. So take care, guys.